Hi everyone, welcome to another new episode of the Outlier podcast. We've got Cyndi with us today. Hi Sydney, how are you doing?
Oh, so good to be here.
Absolutely, Sydney. It's an absolute pleasure to have you join us in an episode with us today. Quick introduction who Sydney is. I don't think she needs an introduction, but still I'll try doing one for her, right? Sydney is the CIO of Swire Coca-Cola. She's a three-time CEO and EY Entrepreneur of the Year, and obviously a tech and CPG leader, right? Known for scaling companies like one of her current ones. She works for Swire Coca-Cola and to Disney, right? She has done this through AI, digital, and growth strategy. She's a founder of two interesting organizations, I would say. Right? One is the Women Tech Council. The other one is She Tech. Both of them combined impact close to 40,000 plus young women. And another feather on her cap is she has had multiple successful exits in the businesses she's run so far. So she is considered to be the technology mogul of retail CPG and known for scaling organization at scale, right? I'm not sure, Sydney, if I was able to do half justice with the illustrious career you had, but I just tried my best.
That was a fabulous intro, and we'll just leave it at that.
Sounds perfect. So let's maybe start talking about your journey, right? So from Disney to Swire Coca-Cola, you've led transformation at one of the, I mean, at few of the most iconic brands, right? Uh, how has your approach to innovation evolved across industries?
Now, that's a great question. I came through, I did my undergrad in computer science. So I've been in tech my entire career. So this like DNA of innovation and how you build has really been the fabric of my entire career. And then I had this opportunity, and when I went to Disney to get exposed into this, there was a group when I was there called the Blue Sky Group. And the Blue Sky team, their entire job was anchored in this idea of what could be possible if. So up until then, I'd developed lots of interesting things, and we had embarked on, I had actually spent the couple of years before that doing almost 1,000 validation interviews for customers to figure out if they would buy this product that we were building.
Yep.
And so I have this deep expertise in like how do you build things that people will love and that you can make money on. But
Yep.
this opportunity when I went to Disney to think about the art of the possible, if there are no constraints, if there
Yep.
are none of like the budget constraints or the naysayers in the room, like you're just truly looking to transform something. Like, what do you ask? And the question you ask is without limits. It is this mentality of completely blue sky. There's no clouds in the sky. There's no barriers. You can see forever. You can come up with any innovation possible without deciding how you fund it, what it will become. That became for me the anchor of how I think about innovation. This idea that inside of a business, what you're trying to do is figure out how you constantly evolve and disrupt yourself because you're building long-term sustainable relationships with customers that need this constant innovation to be
Yep.
part of that. And innovation comes in many forms. And companies are always thinking about what does it mean to either transform the customer experience or transform the operations experience. And so it became this DNA for me in everything that I built after that, to think about how do you make sure that resources and thinking are going to the things that really could disrupt the company and be most valuable to them in context of what's happening. And so then I've gotten the opportunity to apply that in very specific components. Like when I built Idea Cloud, it was all around, okay, wait, when I'm listening to digital transformation problems, what are they really trying to solve right now? There's a million things you could solve. But the things that you should solve inside of a business are ones that will align with the outcomes and vision and mission of an organization in order to create transformation. And so then as built this career from Disney all the way then through Coca-Cola, I think for me the innovation models are how do you make the greatest impact? Where should you dedicate
Yep.
your resources that you get that return? And how do you create environments for them where they can think big? Because we should think big first and then apply constraints in order to get outcomes. And what people often think about is like, just innovate in this one area, but that doesn't lead to the true innovation. You have to be willing to think of the laughable, the wacky, the crazy ideas that no one else might think about in order to figure out what you do today. And innovation, I believe, is woven into people's DNA. And there's some organizations who are very bad at it. Like they can't think about how they disrupt themselves because they're stuck in the innovator's dilemma. But true innovation is blue sky thinking. It's taking everything around you and just imagining what the world could look like in order to hit your objectives. And when you do that, you start problem solving in a totally different way.
Absolutely right. So you've scaled businesses and driven like hundreds and millions of dollars in revenue growth, right? So you had that experience of running PNL, growing PNL, managing PNL, and scaling it, right? So what role do you think AI play in that equation today? And do you think it's same or it's very different now?
Well, I think even if you look over the last 3 to 6 months, the role that AI has, not just in digital transformation, but in work transformation, it's accelerating every single day. It should now be in every one of our just daily work lives. How we're using AI personally, and then how we're thinking about it in the applications of the world, because that's how relevant it is. Because businesses are always faced with, anytime you run a business, I always say it's like a crisis every day. There's some big problem that you're trying to solve. And because those problems have all sorts of facets to them, anything that can speed up your ability to identify root causes, figure out levers to pull, and then experiment with those levers is really important to businesses. So when I think about AI and even my use in my personal life versus even just some of our enterprise applications, it's making me 100 times faster. Like I would have already told you I thought I was fast. But when I think about my use of AI in the things where it's like, okay, I have all of these strategic thoughts and this creativity, and I need this output, and then like give me other variables that I should consider. Like it's moving us that quickly. And so when you think about needs to scale a business, the things that are the formulaic components of scaling a business are understanding, what's going to drive your customer to purchase more. What are you providing as a software service? How do you marry those two things? And what are the levers that you have inside of the business? And where should you focus first? Because those things, you have to have this complex ecosystem of so much information, and you can't be frozen because you don't have information. So you just
Yep.
have to figure out the speed of which you get more insights in order to make decisions and then iterate as fast as you possibly can. And AI is making that possible. And then AI is solving problems where, hey, it's better if we don't have to spend all of our energy there, because if we spend our energy here, we get this lift.
Absolutely right. Uh, I mean, it has become a. I mean, co-pilot is a very loosely used term now, but I think AI has become a co-pilot to everything I do. Be it my day-to-day decisioning, running business, to creating decks, to even asking what is the best restaurant that I can go for. I mean, I think the traffic that comes from AI engines vis-a-vis Google, it's become disproportionate. I don't think, I mean, I seriously do not go to a plain vanilla search engine anymore. No. I actually ask an AI engine to give me better answers because they're more contextual, they're more organized. I don't have that hustle of uh, running it all throughout. Absolutely. So this is amazing. So now as a continuation, right? So if I had to ask you, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities that you see using technology to drive both consumer as well as operational growth in CPG?
So you end up with this like foundational architecture of businesses that we all know where, like from an operational side, how it makes us efficient. I mean, I think on the AI side, places that we're easily going first are everything from how do you get more sophisticated revenue forecasting for based on the time, like your own seasonality and trends and conditions that you own. I think those things are very interesting. I think in the operational side, there's a lot of AI in manufacturing that's coming. Had an opportunity to partner with both Microsoft and Sight Machine. We're putting AI on manufacturing lines in order to do things like reduce unplanned downtime, create predictive maintenance models. I mean, those things have real really important value in the operations of an organization.
Yes.
And logistics, route planning, how you deliver product to the right people at the right time, what happens when that gets disrupted. Like AI is doing a phenomenal job at that operational side. I think the consumer side, there's an interesting stack in CPG, and I almost separate them from like, how do you make sure you have products people love? This is a little bit of an art, right? How do you make sure that you design, because we know how to implement processes that help us get product to market, but the ethos of something that consumers are going to love, that every TikTok shop person must have today. That's like a different, experience. And then the blending of digital and physical, there's still lots of creativity inside of that. Where we do see AI immediately helping, not just as in the data and insights, but even thinking about, like I think about AI's use as if you were delivering product into a big retailer, how do you take AI and predict how you should even stack pallets for delivery to how someone should load shelves? Like if you and I walk into a Walmart today, we're going to have all of the buy online pickup in store shoppers. They're like all the blue carts are sitting all over and they're picking shelf and they're taking first inventory. But how are we going to use AI to help create a better consumer shopping experience so they still can get product? It's still on the shelf, doesn't conflict with those. And how do we even get computer vision into understanding what's on a shelf and understand where consumers are spending time? And when something's out of stock, how do you replace it? If we're going to use
Yep.
that part of I think AI's gap will still be like it will provide suggestions, but consumers are interestingly like ingenious and creative in how they decide
Yep.
and why they decide to buy something. And that part of creativity, like humans are really good at that. Like sometimes things just like crush it and they completely like hit
Yep.
it. And AI has yet to be able to predict those things, which I actually think is a really interesting problem. So I think
Yep.
AI is going to help push up all the operations. It's going to help us go to market faster. It's going to help us create content strategies. But the breakthrough ideas are coming by leveraging that with human creativity.
Absolutely. I mean, first principles thinking will still be first principles thinking. Problem solving will always be problem solving. You
Yep.
cannot replace them with AI. I mean, that's what I keep on telling everyone that I mean, another misconception about everyone that AI will take all of our jobs. Yes, it might automate. I mean, IBM says that it might automate 30% of the current task task that we do. That's true. But can these resources be repositioned somewhere else, right, for a better decisioning across the workflow, right? Faster, quicker, more informed decisioning. So absolutely well taken. Absolutely. Talking about your exits, right? So obviously you're someone who has have multiple successful exits, right? So what has those experiences taught you about building a technology driven and sustainable business? Because uh, it's only entrepreneurs who can tell about, or can not preach is the wrong word, it's only entrepreneurs who can talk about that, yes, this is the way how it has been done.
Yeah, this is a great question. Let's see. First of all, I will say building a business is hard. So I'm just going to say that that is part of like the DNA of what you're doing. Building companies and scaling them, there's nothing easy about it. And you're solving problems every day. And I think the thing that helps us decide, or, when you build companies and have exits, it's your ability to lean into what we've actually been talking about, problem solving. Like the ecosystem that is around us is complex. And so when you think about scalable, there's a couple things that are true. You have to have great people around you. You have to build really great teams of great people that you trust. You have to get out of being a micromanager and you have to allow people to solve really big problems for you, or you will not scale. And you have to hold people to great accountability. Like, hey, this is where we're going. We're aligned on this mission. This is what we're doing. I'm going to hold you accountable and I'm going to let you do an amazing job inside of your job. And I believe that people become one of the most crucial components because we can all create SOPs, we can all create operating procedures, put them in place. And I'm a fan of like, if I'm going to do something more than once, let's make sure we wrote it scalable enough so we don't have to invent it the second time, right? And that's how you start the fundamental part of that. But I'm not going to hold up building a new thing or taking a new idea to market because I don't have a process. Like I'm just in. You give me a problem, I'm going to solve it. You give an idea, we're going to scale it, and then we're going to rapidly go like, someone's going to ask me to do this again. Okay, great. Now we're scaling that. And that scaling infrastructure with really great people who trust you, who lean into you, allows you to take something literally from nothing and then create this amazing thing that improves over time and that allows you to then be like, oh yeah, okay, we can be better at this part of our business. We can manufacture better. We can scale this component. But building something from nothing means you lay brick by brick. It means you go out and you're like, maybe laying bricks could be faster this way. Oh, maybe we could go solve this problem in different ways. And being able to be patient through the crisis and someone that everyone can look to as this voice of like, we will solve this. I will be on the ground with you, and we are going to take this company from here to something we never expected and create an environment that, while it was hard, was amazing to be on the ride for.
Absolutely right. That's an advice from someone who has built things from scratch, right? Uh, my next question is obviously as you know that I am a huge supporter of women leadership, right? So I also run another podcast called Women of Community Banking Podcast. So dovetailing from that, I also see that you're a founder of a couple of organizations. One is the Women Tech Council, the other one is She Tech. You spoke about it.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest barrier you still think women face in technology, or maybe interchangeably, let's use in STEM, right? And how do you break it?
Yeah, this is a question I work on all of the time. We created these nonprofits more than like 15 years ago, really with the intent of like, how do you make an economic impact for women in technology and increase them, specifically because our companies perform better. They have better outcomes when you have more of the diverse thinking around the table. And women represent 50% of the workforce. And these are places where we're solving significant problems of the world. And we want that around the table for those. So if you were to ask me problems that we face as women, one, it significantly still is role models and mentors. Because what happens even today is we actually have more women entering the workforce in technology, but the ladder's broken. So we have a broken ladder as women to send up, and there's still only a 5% of female executives in tech that are in the tech or STEM ecosystems. And the challenge that we're facing is having enough people who have paved the way in significant enough ways so that the elements that oftentimes women want when they come to the workplace, which at the top of the bucket has always been flexibility. Thought we solved part of this problem in COVID, backwards a little bit in the last couple of years. But what they don't mean is I want to work less. What they do mean is hold me accountable to performing at an amazing level and let me have the option, the ability to go do the other things I need to do in my life in order to be the best performer for you. We've not solved that problem. And because we don't have enough women in the most senior seats, we have not fixed the broken rung that women have to navigate as they move up the career ladder. And until we put more emphasis in the broken lung and the promotion component for women, we will still be stuck in the same spot. And we have only moved the numbers of women in tech by small percentages over the last decade.
Yeah, that's an actual challenge. And I don't know. I mean, we're trying to address it one by one, but it's still taking time, right?
That's right.
Understand. Let's get into the next section of the podcast, the last section. That's what we call as rapid fire. First question: what is innovation in 2 words?
Okay, so my two words, and then I'm also thinking of 3 words, so I'm giving you both. But I think innovation is ultimately amazing problem solving. But I also think about it as the blue sky thinking.
Problem solving, blue sky thinking. Absolutely makes sense. That's great. Second, one technology trend that you're really bullish for the next 5 years.
Oh, yes, this is a good one. Okay, so first of all, it's obviously grounded in AI. But I think that if I go specifically in STEM, I think 100% of what we think about the development ecosystem, computer science
Yep.
and engineering, will be
Yep.
completely transformed in probably in less than 2 years. I last night wanted to build like a new website, and I used AI on that, and I was generating like 1,000 lines of code every 2 minutes. Like this is
Absolutely.
impossible in historical context. So what does that mean for tomorrow? It means complete transformation of how we bring software code to life.
Absolutely. One parting question. what is the proudest achievement so far? I mean, I know you've got multiple, but let's pick maybe one of them.
Yes, I know. It makes me think about like all the amazing stages I've been on, from Super Bowl to the World Series to like making someone Iron Man. But to be honest, the thing that I'm most proud about in my career is the ability that I've had to create a network that's making demonstrable impact for tens of thousands of women and men in the technology industry through the Women Tech Council. Like, I've seen lives completely changed because of a network and an ecosystem that has created opportunity, visibility, and mentoring for them. And, if that's the legacy that I leave, it's more important than anything else that I've done.
Amazing, Cydni. This was a great episode, talking about transformation to AI, to what you've done for women leaders, creating a safe council, helping people transform lives. That's the most important thing, because that's a legacy you leave behind, right? It doesn't matter
Yep,
how much money you leave behind, but the legacy is that have you been able to touch people's life? Have you been able to
exactly.
change people's life? That's the most important legacy. So Cindy, this is great. And again, thank you for joining us for an episode today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Cindy.